Friends, hi, namaskar, and very warm welcome. In this 12th episode of our program, we are still in the 1950s, the boom decade. But this time is the story of some serious conflicts that took place in the decade of the 1950s. This decade shows us the cold current of tension that continued between the Eastern Bloc or the Communist Bloc and the American Bloc from the 1950s. Let me first start with the Korean conflict. Korea, as you viewers all know, is a peninsula sharing a border in the north with People's Republic of China and is jutting out into the Korean Sea, and it is nearer to Japan also. The Korean Peninsula has been always very important for the Soviets as well as the Chinese. So just after the Second World War, the Soviets aided formation of a communist government headed by Kim Il-sung in the north of the Korean Peninsula. Not to be outdone, the Americans prompted an anti-communist nationalist government in the southern part of Korea. The capital of the North Korean Communist Republic was in Pyongyang, while the South Koreans had their capital in Seoul. In 1950, the North Korean communists under the dictator Kim Il-sung wanted to occupy the entire peninsula and attack the south. After a brief skirmish, the North Koreans were able to push back the Southern Korean army, right up to the sea. At this point of time, USA enters the war, but in the guise of the UN peacekeeping forces. Since the North Koreans have pinned down the South Koreans in the coast, in the south coast, the Americans under the stewardship of Douglas MacArthur, their general, land in another part of Korea and in a pincer movement surround the North Korean army. Being surrounded from both sides, the North Koreans had no other alternative but to start retreating. Actually, the dividing line between North and South Korea is latitude 38, but the UN peacekeeping forces, instead of pushing the Koreans back to that border, unofficial border, crossed over into North Korean territory and pushed the communists back right till the end of the country, almost to the China border. At this point of time, China, fearing that the US Army will also enter and occupy part of Chinese land, stepped into the war. The Chinese were pretty familiar with the territory, and the Chinese army was well equipped with Soviet equipment. When the Chinese entered the war, the complexion of the war changed, and slowly and steadily, the Chinese started pushing back the South Koreans as well as the American forces up, and they pushed them back to the unofficial border, that is latitude number 38. At that point of time, there was a negotiation between both the Korean governments, and a peace treaty was drawn, and ultimately in 1953, the Korean War ended. If you closely see this war, you will find certain things which have happened for the 1st time. This war establishes the Chinese army as a force to reckon with, because they not only participated in the Korean War, but they were able to defeat the might of the American army for the first time. It was also the first time when the Americans entered war in an Asian country under the pretext of UN forces, and it goes on to show that the UN forces can be manipulated by the Americans. The Soviets do not enter the war directly, but they give their support to the communists of North Korea. The only good thing that has happened in the Korean War is that coming just 5 years after the Second World War and Hiroshima and Nagasaki, no nuclear weapon was used in this war. Moving on now from Korea, let me go into the story of conflict in another neighboring Asian country. This was a very long drawn war, and it went on for 21 years. And here in this war, the Americans had direct involvement. The viewers, I believe, by this time have understood I am referring to the Vietnam War. People of my generation are all aware of the Vietnam War, but actually what happened in that war, let us see. This conflict is also somewhat similar to the Korean conflict. Actually, Vietnam was earlier known as Indochina, and it was being ruled by the French for quite some time. During the Second World War, the Japanese occupied Vietnam, but after the war ended, the power was handed over to the French. The Vietnamese communists, under the leadership of Ho Chi Minh, formed a communist party by the name of Workers' Party, and they have been fighting with the French in the north for quite some time. And by 1953, they were ultimately able to push the French out of the entire North Vietnam. Immediately, North Vietnam formed a separate country with their capital as Hanoi, and Ho Chi Minh became the president of North Vietnam. The French surrendered or handed over power to the Emperor of Vietnam in South Vietnam, but the Americans in Korea style immediately prompted to form a government in South Vietnam with the capital in Saigon. But unlike in Korea, the North Vietnamese communists always had an ambitious plan to control the entire country. And so when the country got split up and separated, North Vietnamese sent a lot of communist infiltrators into South Vietnam. These communists were known as Viet Cong, and they had infiltrated all walks of South Vietnam life. They were very much present in the army, they were in the government, etc., etc. The Americans were liberally supporting the South Vietnamese by way of supplying arms and ammunition, as well as providing advices. But the Viet Cong, who were adept in guerrilla fighting, started a guerrilla war in South Vietnam from 1954 onwards. Though the South Vietnamese army was much better equipped, their equipment were suitable for regular warfare. But what the Viet Cong started was a guerrilla warfare in the urban areas as well as in the rural areas, and were regularly disturbing the South Vietnamese army. As years drew by, there was no sign for the conflict to end, and every day more and more more and more South Vietnamese started joining the started joining the Viet Cong. Many of the people who later on joined were anti-communists, but because of the misrule in South Vietnam, these people got so frustrated that they thought of overthrowing the South Vietnamese government. As the decade drew to an end, there was no solution in sight, and America started contemplating that they would directly join the conflict. In fact, after the 1950s, America did join the conflict directly, but even then the war continued for another 15 long years. As the decade is closing, I would also like to close today's episode. But before that, I would like to mention about the about Fidel Castro and the Cuban Revolution. Cuba, as you would be aware, is a very large island in the Caribbean and it is nearer to the USA. It got its independence from USA in the year 1902, and after that it was being ruled by various presidents and dictators, etc., etc. Right from 1940s, dictator Batista was ruling Cuba and were controlling the population with an iron fist. But in the late 40s and early 50s, Fidel Castro formed the Communist Party there and from 1953 led a revolution of the communists against the dictator Batista. The communist revolution was led by Fidel Castro, his brother Raul Castro, and the legendary Ernesto Che Guevara. And after a lot of struggle, they were able to throw Batista and establish Fidel Castro as the president of Cuba in the year 1959. Castro ruled Cuba from 1959 till 2008, and today Cuba remains as one of the last communist parties in the world. Time now for me to end, but before ending, let me quickly ask you the what if question. What if the Americans not intervened in both Korea and Vietnam? What would have happened? I believe both Korea would have remained peacefully and separately, and Vietnam would have been entirely overrun by Ho Chi Minh. Please ponder on this. Thank you. See you in the next week. Till then, bye, namaste, and thanks.